all the diving you can do in the world, ice diving is the most dangerous type of diving and filming that you can do. You can only last, with a proper suit, maybe 30 minutes before your mouth is so cold your regulator falls out of your mouth and you can't breathe. Every year, people die in the ice, on the ice, under the ice. You make one wrong move, you're dead. I got involved in underwater cinematography and was pushed by the first generation, which were these bold men and women that would go in the water with wild animals and not know how they were going to react. Were they going to get eaten? Were they going to come back with something they could share with the rest of the world? So I was pushed to go to another region that was undocumented and to bring back imagery the likes of which no one has seen before. Every March in the Magdalen Islands up in Canada, millions of baby white harp seals are born on the floating pack ice. When they're born, really only have 12 days to learn everything they need to know to survive. So almost immediately, they go into the water. They don't have a lot of fat on them, but enough where they're buoyant. They can't really swim yet. And so they're just like an infant, you know, going in the water and kind of splashing around, treading water. I wanted to go there to capture the first moments. The day I picked, the wind was blowing at 40 knots. It was howling. And I landed on the ice where there was an open crack, this lead. I saw lots of animals bobbing in the crack. And this opening was about the size of a small living room. So I land, I get all my gear out, I get my regulator together on my tank, and by the time the regulator was on, the hole that was 20 feet now shut. Because of the wind and the currents underwater completely closed. I thought there was really no other way into the water. And then in the distance, a seal popped up and started breathing. Seal breathing hole is kept open in the pack ice by the seals. They actually take their nails and they scratch around the hole and they keep it open so it doesn't freeze over. And I looked at the guy that I was with. He was a really expert with ice. And I said, well, what do you think? Do you think I can go down that hole? It was the only opening because all the openings around us were closed. And he nodded his head, let's go for it. And so I entered the seal breathing hole. The minute you hit the water, you have an ice cream headache, only it's worse. And you got to spend the first 2 minutes of your dive, you exhale through your nose to try to warm up your face till the water actually numbs around you. And then the headache goes away. And I open my eyes and it's just the most beautiful sight you'd ever see. These seals everywhere, I was just in heaven. And then all of a sudden around my waist, I feel a sharp, sharp tug, a jerk. So hard that I almost lost the grip on my underwater camera. Right away, I was being pulled along the ceiling. There's all kinds of shelves and sharp ice points. At that moment, I realized that something bad was happening. There's only one reason why you'd be yanked. The hole must be closed. I see what used to be this seal breathing hole. It's no longer a round hole. It was, from my view, shut. I had about 700 pounds of air. If you were calm, that would last you another 5 minutes. I start looking around under the water and I'm trying to find another opening. And there were no openings. Everything was shut. And at that moment, under the ice, I thought my life was over. The idea of drowning is one of the worst ways to go. I think it's total panic. I don't think there's anything that can prepare you. My body and my mind was not giving up, and so I kept jamming my head and my body and my hands up in the area where there was an opening. I thrust up once again, and I was able to get my head out. And I was able to get it enough above water to look at my guide's ankles and his calf. And I see this blade, coming down. And he's away, he's hacking, and he's hacking, and he's hacking. And what I didn't really realize was going on above water. So my guide picked up an axe. to open that hole. My shoulders with my tank combined, I was too big still to get through this tiny little opening. I went back down underwater because I wanted to get momentum to try to thrust my shoulders through. I've got probably 2 minutes, I don't know how much air. The panic is that you don't really know. Finally, I thrust up and I was able to get my shoulders and my tank out, and it sort of cinched into the hole that my guide was cutting up to my arms. He grabbed my shoulder and he yelled at me, the only English he knew, "Crawl, crawl, 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 crawl." And I just crawled out of the hole. And I turned around and I looked back at what was once this beautiful 30-inch in diameter seal breathing hole, and it was completely shut. I got back in the helicopter after that incident, and I realized that I just made a really stupid mistake. But I was happy, to get out. That made me ice brothers with Mario, my guide. There's sort of a bond that you go through with people if you are near death and they help you. The reality of wildlife filmmaking, of trying to go where others haven't. It doesn't mean that you won't continue to take risks, but you become a little bit wiser.